Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidil Anbiya wal Mursaleen. This is Mujeeb Kazi and you're watching Washington Roundtable on VOKTV. I'm joined by a very esteemed guest, Dr. Fai Saab. MashaAllah, he has devoted entire life for the cause of Kashmir. Has represented Kashmir almost every platform on the global stage. The struggle is continuous, but the results are not seems to be favorable for Kashmir. So that's what we are going to learn today from Fai Saab. Fai Saab, first of all, Jazakallah khair and thank you so much for giving us the time. Give us, in the wake of recent events, especially after when one of the most prominent journalists of Pakistan has on a public TV have claimed that General Bajwa, when he was the army chief, he has sold Kashmir to India, and that was one of the reasons that Article 370 and 35A was revoked. What is your take on his statement?
First of all, thank you very much. You said this is Washington. What was the
Roundtable.
Roundtable. But right now we are coming from Chicago, which is the birthplace of Javed Rathore Saab. Let me tell you, first of all, we need to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as a nation of Kashmir, as the people of Kashmir. We are weak indeed. Given the geopolitics and international politics, we have no say. But because of the sanctity of the conflict, there have been so many developments that took place within the past 70 plus years, but particularly within the past 4 years, that we really lost the hope that only Allah knows what is going to happen. And suddenly the hope was given by those people who really matter, not in the region of South Asia, but globally. I will give you just one example. Both of you, Javed Saab and you are of Kashmiri origin. When abrogation Article 370 35A took place, we knew that Narendra Modi has a design. In fact, RSS has designed for the last more than 100 years. So they want to really dissolve the issue of Kashmir so that no one is going to talk about issue of Kashmir in the international forum, even at the local level. It happened on August 5, 2019. Then who came to the rescue of the people of Kashmir? None other than Antonio Guterres, the Secretary General of the United Nations, just 3 days later, August 8, 2019, saying that Kashmir issue has to be resolved under UN Charter, under applicable United Nations Security Council resolution. You are talking about the Chief of Army Staff of Pakistan. Not only that we knew it, but I have written on it for the last more than 15 years. May Allah bless the soul of Ambassador Yusuf Bush. They call him Bush, although he is a boss. So he said that because he was the advisor to the Secretary General, so he has a lot of information. And he told me, in fact, he also mentioned this in one of the conferences I invited him to Washington, D.C., that Pakistan is under a lot of international pressure to compromise on the issue of Kashmir. And let me again quote Ambassador Yusuf Bush, because he was one of the most recognizable soul in Pakistan and in Kashmir. He said, but that's not going to happen. I asked him, I said, you are saying Pakistan is under a lot of pressure. More than 15, 20 years back, he told me that. He said, Fai Saab, I know the people of Pakistan. No matter who is the president of Pakistan, no matter who is the prime minister of Pakistan, no matter who is the chief of the army staff of the Pakistan, ultimately they cannot go against the majority sentiments of the people of Pakistan, which is the people of Kashmir need to be given all the diplomatic and the political support. When Bajwa made a public statement we have to bury the past. We had a meeting, and one of our board members, Dr. Imtiaz Khan, he wrote an article, and it was published in Pakistan. He said, since you are the chief of the army staff, we respect you because you are representing a most important army of the world and Pakistan. But you tell us, how can we bury the past when we are witness to more than 100,000 innocent people who were killed? It is written, it is published in Pakistan. How can we bury the past when we have 8 to 10,000 people who have disappeared? How can we bury the past when we have more than 15,000 of our sisters whose respect was violated? We cannot do that. So what Bajwa did and he did not do, we do not do that. But what Bajwa said, we reacted to that. So I think it is really the important responsibility of Kashmiri diaspora to be in touch with the nation of Pakistan, to be in touch with the people of Pakistan, because ultimately it is the pressure coming from the grassroots. And let me also quote, I don't know whether he will like it or not, Ambassador Riaz Khokhar, who was the ambassador to India, ambassador to America. He said the same thing 25 years ago in London. We invited him to London. May Allah bless the soul of Dr. Mujeeb Thakur. He was there. He said exactly the same thing. He said you should have at least 2 days in a month in Pakistan. You have to have direct conversation with the people of Pakistan. So that's why we are really concerned what the government of Pakistan is doing and can do. And let me tell you again, another important event, because I have said it publicly and I can repeat it here. I was on my way to Islamabad. Again 15, 18 years back, and I called Sayyid Ali Gilani from Istanbul. I asked him that, Gilani Sahab, I am going to go to Pakistan, any message? Obviously we were talking in Kashmiri. He said, Bhai Sahab, I don't have a message, but I have a message if you happen to meet with the Prime Minister of Pakistan, and Prime Minister of Pakistan was Yusuf Raza Gilani. I told him, Gilani Sahab, I am going there for an international conference and he is going to be the keynote speaker. And the conference is going to take place in Muzaffarabad. I said, what is the message? And I mentioned that in international conference in front of the Yusuf Raza Gilani, that's why I can repeat it. He said, message is, I am the symbol of accession to Pakistan in Kashmir. But I have yet to see another person who can say, mere haan mein haan milayega. There is no one who supports me, simply because Pakistan dilutes its policy in the morning and in the evening it is different policy. Then when I was speaking, Yusuf Raza Gilani was there. It was in the Intercontinental Hotel of Muzaffarabad. I said, I have a message from Gilani Sahab. Then Yusuf Raza Gilani, he stood up. He said, please tell Gilani Sahab, we got your message and we will not disappoint you. So what I am saying, that whether you are a leader in Azad Kashmir, in Indian occupied Kashmir, Kashmiri global diaspora, Javed Rathore Sahab, we have mashallah not many, we have dozens of them. So we have to send a message that Pakistan is very important. Without Pakistan, you cannot move an inch. But if Pakistan cannot really take the principal stand on its principal policy, which is that the people of Kashmir have the right to decide the future of Kashmir.
I think I could not have more elaborated the way you have done it, that the most important job is the Kashmiri diaspora, and obviously staying in touch with the people of Pakistan, who eventually will be the custodian of freedom of Kashmir movement, so that they have been on the forefront in support of Kashmir in all platforms, whether it's political, whether it's moral, social, however way forward that we can find. People of Pakistan have been with Kashmir. Rathore Sahab, quickly, mashallah, Fai Sahab is an encyclopedia of Kashmir, and he can give us the entire rundown from the start of the movement till today. Would you agree that the policy that on a regular basis changes you know, and just like Faisab has alluded to it, you know, in the morning you have a different policy, in the evening, and obviously that is so true that when the one chief leaves, the other chief comes in, he comes up with a different policy. But the real policy should remain intact with the people of Pakistan, where Kashmiris have failed.
Actually, or unfortunately, Kashmiris have been victims of two factors. One factor is obvious, and that factor is Indian occupation, oppression, subjugation, and other factor is inconsistent policies of Pakistan. And these policies has been frequently inconsistent because of change. If there is any change, any chief change, they change the policies. And I think political government never been have any say in these policies, which is unfortunate. Unless it's important, if you want to have a national policy, it should comes from the political government, because the political government or politicians, they have a different mindset, they have a different observation, they have a different exposure. Rather than the army people, they have a very limited, I think, exposures and reports and all those things, and they base policies or formulate policies on the basis of their reports or their own thinking, which is not broader enough or which is not well received from all over the world. So that is the dilemma we have, and I think unless we don't have a consistency in the policies, Kashmiri will suffer, and people of Pakistan are with the people of Kashmir, and they are always with the people of Kashmir, and they want people of Kashmir to success. But these are the governments and our establishment, they have to change their mind and the way of working.
So I'm going to come to Faisab and talk about what's happening inside Jammu and Kashmir. We talked about, you know, the failure on Pakistan and the policy shift and inconsistency and what have you. But at the end of the day, obviously Kashmir is the issue of Kashmiris, and they are the one who have to take the baton to the next level. Faisab, what we have seen is, you know, the Indian current regime, the ruling regime of Modi, have on a public platform, you know, on a social media, on a mainstream media, have repeatedly tried to build the image that as if Kashmir is thriving, Kashmir is on the road to progress. They have been deprived of many rights in the past, and now they are on the right direction. This is obviously their narrative. But on the other hand, we see every other day we see sniper attacks, we see drugs being infused in the youth, we see the properties are being taken away from our Kashmiris, the businesses are being taken away from them, and the people have been brought in from outside. So what is your observation, because you are the one who are directly in touch with the people of Jammu and Kashmir on ground?
You see, first of all, it's not my observation, because I'm a party. If I will give you my observation, people will say he has to say it. Dr. Fernand D. Vaness, he is the United Nations Special Rapporteur on minority issues. When India wanted to have G20 tourism meeting in Kashmir, you objected it, I objected it, Rathore Sahab objected, Kashmiri diaspora objected, everybody objected it. But what he said is more important. He said India is trying to have the G20 tourism meeting in Kashmir to give the false impression of normalcy. You do not need to be an Einstein. If what Modi is saying, if what Amit Shah is saying is correct, that there is a development in Kashmir, the people of Kashmir, they have reconciled with the occupation, for God's sake, I am quoting Arundhati Roy. She said there are 900,000 Indian army in Kashmir. If Kashmiri people have reconciled with India, if there is normalcy in Kashmir, if there is development in Kashmir, for God's sake, why don't you withdraw this 900,000 army? Just last 2 weeks ago, on the Independence Day of India, they had more than 40,000 army they brought from India. So if there is a normalcy, there should not be anybody on the streets. there was a delegation, by the way, there was a delegation, it was a private delegation from China. They visited Kashmir, private. It was not, government has nothing to do with this. It was, I think, 10 or 11 ladies. And one of the ladies, she happened to be the class fellow of my wife. She did not tell her anything what's going on there. She came back maybe 10 days ago, yesterday, day before yesterday, they were talking. My wife asked, what did you see? He said, I cannot believe it. There is army after every 100 feet. So what I am saying that this concept of development, concept of normalcy, it has been rejected by India itself by not withdrawing the army. But let me also tell you, I fail to understand. I have conveyed the message to Azad Kashmir. Forget about Pakistan. Azad Kashmir is a part and parcel of the pain and suffering of the people of Kashmir. It is none other than United Nations High Commissioner on Human Rights, the most important custodian of human rights all over the world, Miss Michelle Bachelet, who also happened to be the president of Chile for 10 years. In her 47-page report on Kashmir, she recommended one important element. She said there has to be a commission of inquiry. Let them go to Azad Kashmir and Indian occupied Kashmir and see what is going on there. I have conveyed to the government of Azad Kashmir, why don't you have a delegation? There are 47 members of the Human Rights Council. Go to the African countries. 10 countries in Africa are the member of Council. 14 OIC countries are the member of Council. And here the recommendation from the UN High Commissioner on Human Rights, there must be commission of human inquiry. If Azad Kashmir government can form the delegation of the parliamentarians, the scholars and the ladies, we will join them. And let me tell you, in front of the Javed Rathore, I am really serious. We will not ask a single penny from them. But have we taken this initiative to go to African countries, to go to OIC countries? That's the only language, Mujeeb, which India is going to understand. Some activity in the United Nations, some activity at the Human Rights Council in Geneva, that is workable. By the way, after a week, the Human Rights Council is going to start. We are not going to do any activity in this, but it starts 4 times a year in the next Human Rights Council. So I really appeal to the government of Azad Kashmir and the leadership of the political parties of Azad Kashmir, please form these delegations. You do not need to go to 47 countries. Let us choose 5, 6, 7 countries which can join hands with us and try to do some activity. So finally, let me tell you, Gregory Stanton, the chairman of Genocide Watch, he did not say it in a corner meeting. He said in the Congress, Kashmir is at the brink of genocide. One of the most important NGO in the world, committed to protect journalists from New York. They say the news media in Kashmir is at the brink of extinction. So the leadership of Azad Kashmir, they need to understand, after a year or so, there won't be any Kashmir you are talking about. This is the time that we have to really take the initiative.
Thank you very much. I think that's where we will end. The Kashmir is at the brink of one of the modern great genocide that is about to take place. It might already be happening, but we don't see it. And obviously, the one who would execute this genocide will always be in a state of denial. But the people of Kashmir, and especially as Faisal has alluded, people who are in power in state of Azad Kashmir, controlled by Pakistan, they are the ones who need to take the lead and activate their activism on a global stage, especially to the countries that are of any impact. Until next time, take good care of yourself. Rathore Sahab, aapka bahut bahut shukriya, and Faisal, jazakallah khair for the time. I know you are very busy here at the conference, but thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.